Picture this for a second. You're at a family gathering, talking to people you haven't seen in years, when one of your cousins casually mentions that he left his job a while ago and now lives off his investments. He doesn't look flashy. He's not wearing a luxury watch. He didn't pull up in a supercar. He's not the loudest person in the room. So people immediately reach for the usual explanations. He got lucky, inherited money, or probably had some special connection. But what happened is much simpler and much more uncomfortable. He understood something about money that most people never stop long enough to learn. Wealth is not built by working harder inside the system. It's built by understanding how the system actually rewards ownership, patience, restraint, and leverage. And in a country where household debt has climbed to about $18.8 trillion, credit card rates are still hovering around 19% to 20%, and the median US household income sits around $83,730, that difference matters more than ever. Today we're breaking down 7 secrets the rich don't want widely understood. Principles that once internalized fundamentally shift how you earn, invest, and protect money. Most people grow up believing that money is the goal. Earn more, upgrade your lifestyle, feel successful. But money was never meant to be the destination. It's a tool. And when a tool becomes your identity, it starts controlling you. In today's environment, this confusion is amplified. Even with a median household income around $83,730, many families feel financially stretched. Why? Because income often rises alongside expenses. Housing costs, insurance premiums, healthcare, and lifestyle upgrades quietly expand to absorb whatever you earn. The result isn't freedom, it's pressure at a higher level. There's also a psychological layer most people overlook. The moment income increases, expectations increase with it. What once felt like enough quickly feels average. This constant recalibration keeps people chasing numbers instead of building structure. Wealthy individuals tend to view money differently. They focus less on signaling success and more on positioning themselves for optionality. Money becomes a mechanism to buy time, reduce risk, and create leverage, not to validate self-worth. If you don't define what money is for, society will define it for you, and that definition usually leads to consumption, not independence. There's a hard ceiling built into income that depends entirely on your time. No matter how skilled you are, your day still has 24 hours. When money is earned only by trading hours for wages, growth becomes linear. And linear growth rarely builds extraordinary wealth. In 2026, we're seeing this tension more clearly. Productivity tools, automation, and AI have increased output across industries, yet most workers are still compensated based on fixed salaries. Meanwhile, those who own assets, equity, or scalable systems benefit disproportionately from that productivity expansion. The difference comes down to leverage. Wealth grows faster when your income isn't tied exclusively to your physical presence. Business owners build teams, investors allocate capital, shareholders benefit from profits they didn't personally generate hour by hour. Systems operate even when they step away. This doesn't mean everyone must start a company. It means understanding that asset ownership changes the trajectory. Stocks, index funds, real estate, or equity in a growing business create exposure to growth beyond your labor. The real divide is structure. One model caps your upside, the other compounds it. When income stops depending solely on your time, money begins to scale. And that shift quietly separates financial stability from financial acceleration. Before we go further, if you are enjoying this video so far, consider giving it a like. It really helps the channel and tells YouTube that you're interested in this kind of content. Now let's continue. Accumulating money feels like progress, but without protection, progress can disappear faster than it was built. One unexpected medical bill, job loss, or market downturn can erase years of effort if there's no structural defense in place. In recent years, layoffs in certain sectors, volatile markets, and rising healthcare costs have reminded people how fragile income can be. Many households carry high monthly obligations, so even a short disruption creates immediate pressure. That's why protection is foundational. An emergency fund isn't designed to make you rich. It's designed to prevent financial regression. 3 to 6 months of essential expenses creates breathing room. It transforms panic into strategy. Beyond that, diversification plays a similar role. Relying on a single income stream or concentrating investments in one asset increases exposure to shocks. There's also a behavioral component. During strong markets, overconfidence rises. People underestimate risk because recent performance feels stable. But wealth preservation requires thinking in probabilities, not emotions. Growth matters, but growth built on instability is fragile. Protecting capital first creates resilience, and resilience is what allows long-term compounding to actually work. Saving money is essential, but saving alone won't make you wealthy. In an environment where inflation has steadily eroded purchasing power over the past few years, idle cash quietly loses strength. If your money isn't growing at a rate that outpaces inflation, you're moving backward in real terms. Many people believe that putting money aside each month is the full strategy. It isn't. Saving creates stability. Investing creates expansion. The difference matters. In the US, long-term equity markets have historically delivered returns that significantly exceed cash holdings over extended periods. Meanwhile, retirement data shows that many households remain underprepared, not because they never saved, but because their capital wasn't allocated efficiently or early enough to benefit from compounding. There's also an opportunity cost most people ignore. Money sitting beyond emergency needs could be deployed into productive assets. Broad market index funds, retirement accounts, real estate exposure, or business equity. Over 10 or 20 years, that allocation gap becomes dramatic. The objective isn't reckless risk-taking, it's intelligent allocation. Liquidity protects you. Growth builds independence. Knowing how much to keep safe and how much to put to work is what transforms discipline into wealth. One of the most subtle traps in wealth building isn't lack of income, it's misaligned expectations. Many people attach their future happiness to a specific number, a 6-figure salary, a 7-figure net worth, a certain lifestyle milestone. The assumption is simple. Once I reach that level, everything will feel secure. But income tends to rise alongside standards. What once felt like financial success quickly becomes normal, then average, then insufficient. This pattern shows up clearly in consumer behavior. As earnings increase, discretionary spending increases as well. Upgraded homes, new cars, subscription services, dining habits. The gap between income and satisfaction quietly reopens. Social comparison intensifies this cycle. In a digital environment where lifestyles are constantly displayed, people measure progress relative to others instead of relative to their own stability. This creates pressure to signal success rather than build it. The real shift happens when expectations are anchored to structure instead of status. Instead of asking, how much do I need to earn to feel successful? The more useful question becomes, what level of expenses allows me to feel secure? Wealth grows faster when lifestyle grows slower. Defining enough is not a limitation, it's a strategic advantage. Without that definition, the pursuit of more never stabilizes. Most people associate wealth with visibility. Bigger house, newer car, constant upgrades. But public consumption often creates private pressure. The more your lifestyle signals success, the more expectations rise, from others and from yourself. In a culture shaped by social media and lifestyle branding, spending can easily become performative. The problem is not the purchase itself, but the pattern it reinforces. When financial decisions are influenced by perception, discipline weakens. Expenses drift upward not because they add long-term value, but because they protect an image. There's a quiet advantage in privacy. When progress remains mostly invisible, there is less pressure to maintain appearances, fewer comparisons, fewer explanations, fewer financial leaks. Behavioral research consistently shows that status competition drives discretionary spending. Yet many individuals with substantial net worth live below what their income could support. Their focus isn't on proving wealth, it's on preserving and compounding it. Privacy reduces noise, it protects focus, it lowers social friction, and it makes it easier to align spending with long-term strategy rather than short-term validation. Financial strength often grows best when it doesn't need to be displayed. At its core, wealth is not about accumulation, it's about autonomy. The ability to choose where you work, how you spend your time, and what obligations you accept. That's the metric that matters. In 2026, many Americans carry significant financial commitments. Household debt has climbed to roughly $18.8 trillion. Credit card balances alone continue to grow, with interest rates hovering near 19% to 20%. High-interest debt doesn't just reduce cash flow, it converts future income into present obligations. It limits mobility. It narrows options. Debt isn't always destructive. A mortgage aligned with long-term stability or a business loan used productively can create leverage. The problem arises when liabilities are tied to consumption rather than capacity. When payments consume flexibility, freedom shrinks. Financial independence isn't defined by luxury, it's defined by margin. How many months could you maintain your lifestyle without new income? How many decisions are driven by necessity instead of choice? Every debt eliminated increases optionality. Every dollar invested expands breathing room. Over time, assets begin covering expenses and pressure declines. Wealth becomes real when your time is no longer fully claimed by obligation. That's when money shifts from survival to sovereignty. The secrets the rich don't want you to know aren't hidden codes or exclusive opportunities. They're structural principles most people overlook while chasing income alone. Money is a tool. Time needs leverage. Protection comes before growth. Expectations must be controlled. Privacy preserves focus. And real wealth is measured by freedom. None of this happens overnight, but when you start thinking in systems instead of salaries, everything shifts. And that shift is what quietly turns financial stress into financial independence. If you found this valuable, take a second to hit the like button. It really supports the channel. And if you want to keep watching more content on finance, investing, and building real wealth, don't forget to subscribe.